Well, hey everyone, welcome back. It's Wednesday night again already. Oh my gosh, the week goes by quick, but I always look forward to being here. 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Uh, hey, welcome to all the new people who are joining the group. We're seeing like a huge influx of new members, so that's great. It's really fun to see that. So yeah, keep spreading the word. Keep telling all your friends about it. It seems to be the fun place to be. So keep them coming. Yeah, I was just we're just chatting a little bit here before we started up and talking about what kind of a topic to talk about this evening. And I was just thinking earlier, it's that time of year when people tend to kind of set goals for the year. And, some people do that New Year's resolution thing, but almost everybody who's in business has some kind of a plan, some kind of a goal for business, whether it's to make more sales or to do things a little more efficiently or whatever. So I'm just curious if any of you guys have set one or more goals for 2022. And since it's almost the end of January now, have you done anything towards working towards those goals? Um, who wants to volunteer?
Union, baby Joe.
Don't make me call on you. Hey, there's Robert. What's going on, Robert? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I am. Gotta keep that background noise down. What's up, Chris?
Nice. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man. How you been?
Good to be seen. Cold, frigid,
Yeah,
ready for spring.
I got my coffee here. Hey, yeah, you need to get one of these mugs, one of these help prevent shower curtains mugs.
I have. Yeah, I'll order 2 of those right now, please.
It'll help keep you warm in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah, we got a few of those things.
So tell me, what's on your mind?
I just thought I'd pop in tonight. Goals for the new year, huh? Good topic.
Yeah.
I'm working on a few things myself. I guess my main and only goal at this point is I'd like to do about a 25% growth. It's like moving on up. Pretty bold, but I think I could do it. Some opportunities. Hire a couple of people if I can find those 2 or 3 people out there looking for a job. Would be nice. Employees, they're extinct. Can't find anybody.
Have you started the active search?
Not off and on, Bill. What do you mean active? Just really aggressively pursue it?
Yeah. You got the free posting sites. First of all, on Chris's site right here, but then on Glacier Nation, a number of sites that you can post it and put it out there for free.
Yeah, well, I'd have to find somebody local. I don't think I can offer a whole lot to get somebody to relocate. But I do some Facebook advertising once in a while. A lot of word of mouth, asking people all the time. Just trying to find somebody local that's looking to get up off the couch, I guess. Maybe even change teams or come over from something else. The restaurant thing, when we go out, I always look for a good server. And it's just hard.
It really is. It is. I don't know where they come from or what else they're doing, but it is hard to get them. But when you get them, man, then you got to retain them too.
Got to retain them, yeah. It's always been hard in the glass business. Not a whole lot of people really want to become glazers. Not that they even know who they are. So the pool has always been kind of low. But right now, everybody needs someone.
They just don't know how fun it is to be a glazer. That's what it is. They need.
Well, it's the world's best kept secret,
right?
Well, you know what you got to do? You got to find what else you want to get somebody from the trades, right? That's pretty good with their hands and they don't mind working the tradesman's hours. So what other trade, kind of a sucky job like sheetrockers? That's not fun. I wouldn't want to do sheetrockers. Tile guys are pretty good glaziers. Just, that's grunt work all the time on your knees and doing the tile and your hands get all dried out.
Just carrying boxes of tile.
Yeah.
Our hands get all cut up though.
That
But not
I-
anymore
I-
in the shower door. How often do you?
Well, not shower
Well,
doors.
these
I
are-
do.
Well, yeah, I do everything
You do
myself
everything.
too. I have a small residential shop.
Yeah, me
I
too.
seam everything. Cuts are not as bad as they used to be for me.
even carpenters or carpenter helpers.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think the glass business is so much better than like carpentry.
Mhm.
That's just me.
Are you guys using Craigslist?
We've used everything. Everything. Indeed, monster.com, ZipRecruiter.
But you're not getting too many people from Indeed and ZipRecruiter and that kind of thing, right? Because Glazers aren't looking on those sites, right?
We don't advertise for glazers.
That's what I found.
We don't
You're not
advertise for glazers. I don't call them that.
I advertise on
Technicians.
Craigslist, and that's the only place I find them.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a minute. Let's not skip over this. I think Bill might be about to drop a pearl of wisdom here. So Bill says he doesn't ask for glazers. What do you advertise for?
Shower door technicians, that we train in-house. Just want somebody with a good attitude and willing to learn. We teach everything. They don't have to buy their own tools. We supply the trucks, we supply the tools, everything. We just want somebody with an attitude that will learn. I try and get them out of hospitality business. People that have good customer service, but physically are fit enough to carry the glass because they work in teams. They don't do it by themselves. So I always send guys out in teams. But I don't advertise for glazers because I think it narrows your pool way too much.
But a shower glass guy doesn't
I don't
narrow
even
the
know
pool?
if I put the word glass in there. The
I
shower,
can say this, guys. We had a sign out in front of our building because we simply, we try everything too, but we had a sign in front of our building because we have a lot of traffic. We'll have 20,000 cars a day roughly that'll go in front of our building. So we had a sign out that just said now hiring glazers. And we had it up for 6 months. And I think we had 1 or 2 people come in. And I took the sign down, took it to the back of the shop, and my dad was like, "What the hell are you doing?" We knew we're trying to bring people in. Well, I took it to the back and removed the glazers off the sign because it was just like a little pop-up sign that you put in the ground. Because a glazer, I think, in the general world is confusing. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. It means a lot to us, but it doesn't mean anything to the general public, and it confuses them. So when you're advertising for glazers, you might luck out and get that 1 in a million guy, but I'm hiring for anybody. If they walk in, we'll test them out and see if they stick. So
I think it's better to bring someone in unexperienced anyway. Unless you get that, you can teach them your bad habits instead of them bringing theirs.
I say the same thing exactly.
all the time.
Yeah.
we brought a guy in this week from Walmart. He got tired of just the monotony of being in a Walmart. He worked there for 10 years. He wasn't getting brought up the chain any. So we brought him in. I'll bring him in from really anywhere. I love to bring him in from trades, but I feel like I'm lucky if that happens. But the glazer part of it, I agree. I've stopped looking for glass guys, glazers, shower guys, anything like that, because I just trade them around with other people in town. And they end up being somebody that nobody wants. So I agree. The glazer part of it doesn't mean anything to me. I'll bring them in and train them. That way I can at least they're doing things the way that I want them done rather than the way they've learned not to do things the right way all over town. So.
Yep.
Yeah, learn your culture.
So Bob, let me ask you, how many guys you got now?
You may?
Yeah. 'Cause you want
2 guys. I have one crew.
one
Me.
crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my wife, small.
What's your plan to grow?
I
You want-
want 2 crews. I would like 2 crews this summer, and
Okay.
maybe a little bigger than that. I'm working on some things. Let's put it that way.
Do you have the sales to substantiate the growth? Or do you need
2
sales?
crews, probably maybe 3. We go out in pretty large area.
Okay.
In this area, you have to travel a little bit. It's no problem for me to do 150, 200 miles measuring, estimating.
Wow.
What cities are you in?
Roanoke,
I
Virginia.
didn't hear that. Virginia?
Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
South Central, sort of.
Okay.
Do any of you guys, when you bring somebody on,
have, I don't know, do you have a trial period, or during the evaluation process, do you have them do some kind of test or mechanical aptitude test to test their skills? And if so, if you bring them on, what kind of timeline do you give them to say, is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? What's your evaluation period and criteria like? Because after a while, they either got it or they don't got it. And if you don't have a place for them to, push the broom, you kind of got to get them out the door. Just kind of curious as to we talked about onboarding a month or two ago, but I'm curious to what you guys do.
I can help you there. So now we've been through the same problems. Like when I was at that situation you were at, yeah, I'd have to send him out with another guy for probably a month and then ask him how he's doing. Now we've got a full training center set up and he works specifically with our trainer in-house. We'll know at the end of a week and a half if the guy's got the capabilities. And the guy himself will know it too. Now, before he gets hired, he's also got a test. He's got a math test. He's got some things, and we just say, measure this and tell us what the measurements are. And we give him a few math tests, like if this part is 3 3/4 and you're told to take off 7/8, what's it going to be cut at? Just to see if he has at least some rough math. But we allow him to use a tape measure or a stick ruler if he needs to. I'd like to see the guy do the math in his head, but if he can't, let's see if he can figure it out. If he's beyond that, then it's tough, because I really don't want to hire somebody just as a helper. I want to be able to get him up and to be a lead guy.
Agree.
So now, probably within 2 weeks, we know if he's got the capabilities. Don't always get it, but that, it's a lot better than the ones that I've gone 3, 4, 5 months and I'm dragging my feet to hire somebody to replace him. Now it's a constant influx of people.
So Bill, do you give them that 2 weeks, and at the end of 2 weeks say, look, thanks for showing up. Here's a 2-week paycheck, but we can't use you. Do you just cut it off, or do you? Is 2 weeks part of the evaluation process?
Well, I don't know how your state is, but Florida's got a 90-day probationary period. And it's also called an at-will work state. So you can let somebody go for 0 reason, but conversely, they can walk away from you with 0 reason. They don't have to give you a traditional 2-week notice. And I've got guys, so it's what they call at will, and there's really nothing anybody can do about it. They're not my slave, and I'm not emboldened to them either. But if the guy's got capabilities, I don't want to cut him loose. I'll work with him, but if the guy's just got absolutely no concept at all, my trainer's going to say, no, we're just wasting time here. He's not grasping anything. Because by the time of day 2 in training, they're already ready to start doing a slider. We've gone through parts, we've gone through sizing, we've done layouts. By day 2, they're already ready to start laying some track down sliders in. But if he can't put a slider in and he's struggling on day 3 or 4, we know it's not the right fit. There's no sense torturing him, and there's no sense us spending more time in it. Doesn't need to be mean about it. It's just, hey, we tried. It's just not the right thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do with caulking? Do you have them practice on something, or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We've got 4 full-size vignettes set up in the warehouse, and we replace the tile. I've got a guy that comes in, replaces tile. They do everything from layout to caulking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a system you have for training. I've heard you talk about it before, how he's actually got like full size, like mocked up showers where guys come in and they like drill the holes and they install the clamps or whatever and install the glass. And when they're done, they tear it out and they have a tile guy come in and redo the tile. And
I got a rack.
Pretty impressive.
I got a rack right over there for all the spare tiles, and we've got different texture tiles. You got porcelain, quartz, some of that soft wavy tile, and a little piece of cultured marble, just so that they know. We also have a board so you know what drill bits to use for what type of stone. It's all part of the training.
Question that's maybe a little bit off topic, but we just ran into some quartzite, natural quartzite, and you just can't drill through that stuff. and went through a bunch of bits. So tried a Realton bit, but we normally just use the little arrowhead type, you know. Any suggestions?
We've gone through a few of the best ones I got are ones that my son found on Alibaba. He brought in, I don't know, 1,000 of them or whatever they are, but they work really good on quartz. They always start off with just a little punch just so it doesn't run on you. And then they drill with percussion and spray a little water in there and just keep going. It's tough, let me tell you. Now, the other ones were the German made. They were round ones. They almost look like a hole saw, and it had diamond all the way around it. It was hollow. Very expensive, but they work on it. They work good too.
We got a couple of guys on the Facebook page who are chiming in on the chat, and one is Dana Higginbotham. He's saying Rotohammer, you know, for quartzite, and then Carl is in there. He says hollow core diamond bits. So he's an advocate for those diamond drills.
Yeah, those hollow cores are good. I mean, that's what the countertop guys do when they drill the faucets out.
Yeah, Milwaukee makes one. I mean, I don't know about by where you guys are at, but up here you can get them at Home Depot. They 3/16 or 1/4 inch. It's just a core bit. I mean, they're about $15-16 a bit. You know, they're pricey, but I mean, if you keep them wet and you just kind of let, you know, just like you're drilling glass, let the bit do the drilling, you know, easy on the pressure. I mean, you can get some life out of them. I mean, you get your money's worth for sure. But they're good bits, yeah.
The key is the guy that's selling the job needs to write it down and charge accordingly. You're gonna have
and that's hard to identify. That would be my part B question to this is, you know, it does sometimes these things are deceiving and you don't know exactly what the material is. So that's the problem.
Do you have relationships with the local stone guys? The guys that put in countertops and sinks? Have one of their salesmen come over and teach your guys how to identify it. They really know their stone pretty well, and have them come over and then build that relationship, because they'll end up referring you because you look at them as the authority in their business. They'll then look at you as the authority in the glass business.
Sure.
And they'll recommend you. So it'll be a really good meeting, and your guys are going to get a lot out of it.
Good. Thanks.
Yeah.
So Carl is saying he's getting those diamond core bits for 30 cents each.
What?
Now I'm having trouble believing that, but so I'm asking Carl if he's going to share with us where he's getting these 30-cent diamond bits.
Maybe it's a typo and he didn't put the decimal point in the right spot.
That was a video out of the trunk.
Yeah.
For 3 revolutions.
I couldn't get a 1/8 metal bit for that price.
Oh, no.
So yeah, share the wealth, Carl. Share the wealth.
Well, if you can double your money, Carl, we'll buy them from 60 cents. Double your money.
Yeah, absolutely. All day long, right?
I'll touch on what Mike was asking about onboarding people. Everybody in this would love to be in Bill's situation and have something like that set up. I mean, I know I would, but I know I'm a long ways from that. And we've been low on people for what seems like, 2 or 3 years. In the past, go back 8 or 10 years ago, we would typically have an extra person in our building all the time. So if someone were out, they're covering, they're a second hand in the shop for unloading incoming orders. That hasn't been the case. So I'm always lacking people currently, it feels like. So when you ask what process are you going through, it's a very, we're not throwing anybody to the wolves because everybody's going to come in as a helper, because rarely am I getting anybody who already has knowledge of what we're doing. So they're coming in and they're going onto a truck as a helper. Nowadays, I'll be honest, it's in my opinion, an overpaid helper compared to what it was not just a short time ago, but we have to play the market, so we're usually taking the newest guy and putting him with our most seasoned installer as long as that installer is not going out on, one of our more difficult installations where he's going to need better hands. And we kind of trickle them through our installers. And I've mentioned before, we kind of have like a high tier, mid tier, low tier installation crews, depending on how long the lead guy's been on staff. So we kind of cycle them through from the head guy who's been on the most years to the middle guy to the lower guy. And then hopefully the goal is that we figure out at that point, can they be a lead guy? Can we move them, forward? And I've got some young guys that are on that level right now. So it's not nearly as polished. We're not doing as much testing on the front end for lead guys as much as we're trying to get bodies in to be helpers. And I feel like a lot of guys are probably in a similar place than I am. If you're running, a few crews in your company, you're typically not bringing a guy in and throwing him right into being a lead guy. Hopefully not, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different ways to do it. I love what Bill has set up. I've talked to him several times before about it, and I would love to be there, but we're not there yet. I feel like volume plays into it too, and the need for people in the immediate versus trying to find that person that can be with you for 10 years. I'm trying to find the guy that's going to stick for a month and then get him to stick for 6 months and then try to get him to stick for 12 months. So yeah, that it's a lot less polished on the way we're doing it, but that's kind of how our process has been for years since our shower business has gotten so busy. So something to think about there, but it's definitely not a perfected way of going about it.
We do something very similar, Billy. I mean, very, very similar. Ranking the skill set of your technicians, and then obviously recognizing the skill requirements of a particular job. We do more than shower doors, but it's kind of the general rule of thumb for everything we do. I mean, I know there's a training phase that slows you down, but at the same time, you have to maintain some level of efficiency through this whole thing. So pairing them up with somebody who can get them out of a bind, is critical. I can't have 2 junior guys going out and scratching their head on a job that should be, an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then taking 4.
Now, you do a lot of new construction. How about retrofit? You do a lot of that as well?
Yes.
Dealing directly with homeowners?
Yeah, I would say that we do, the majority is with homeowners. I'm trying to phase out of a lot of that new construction, that production home building. Where I get into new construction is more of the relationships with builders who are building more custom stuff. So, you're going in, you're putting maybe certainly two, heavy glass, frameless deals in, maybe one framed or semi-frameless, in the basement. But I'm trying to phase out that production home stuff where you're not getting paid much margin.
Good. Mine was the similar business model when I started, the same thing. Mm-hmm. And you're right, you got to do the ranking. The second thing, because we did a lot with homeowners, was their personalities, how they could speak to the homeowner. I had some guys were great technicians, but I would only put them out on new construction where they would blend better. Some of the other guys, even though their technical capability may not have been as good as some of the other guys, they were sharp enough to know how to speak to customers, and that took their defenses down. Yeah, I don't know if you do personality traits with your guys, but some guys will introduce themselves before they come in the front door and say, "Hey, I'm here to put in the shower door." And the customer just already feels good about it. So they're not over their back nitpicking at every single thing. Other guys are shy, and immediately their defenses are up, and the customer is going to follow them every step of the way. So you kind of have to be that coach there and figure out who's the right mix for the right customer.
100%. I try to shoot the shit with my guys as much as I can, just flat out, because I can learn their personality and whether they have the ability to play both sides of the fence. I'm a pretty cut and dry guy, but if you get me in a situation where I need to sell something to somebody to get a product sold and get paid for it, I can turn that switch on and do the things I need to do in that space. No matter if I really care about selling them something or not, I know that is my responsibility to keep things flowing in our process.
Sure.
So that's what I'm betting on the same way. Personality tends to come into play more than ability, I find, with a lot of our guys that we deal with. Because if they're with us long enough, they'll at least learn how to put in sliding doors, single doors, door and panels. They'll at least be the low tier at some point. But if they don't have the ability to communicate well, then they're never going to be one of my lead installers. It just can't happen, because that home that they're going into, that customer, that contractor is going to expect somebody to come in there that can conversate and communicate well with them. And that tends to limit it more than anything. I've got my young guys right now. I'm in the middle of, trying to figure out, can I put them in a situation and them not get too nervous, and still communicate well with the customer, so the customer feels comfortable with them and it feels confident that they're going to get done what they need to do. So yeah, personality is a major part of it. And a lot of it I can figure out, even beforehand. But with our young guys that are, 19, 20 years old, you give them a few years, joke around with them a little bit, get a good feel for, how they can joke back or communicate back to you. And imagine that being with a homeowner, and the homeowner being comfortable with them putting a $2,000 product in their house. I think that a lot of times makes the decision easier for us than their ability level, because at some point they'll be able to install something, and be profitable at some point, hopefully.
Yeah. It's so important, Billy. We do role playing a lot of times. The lead installer's responsibility is to show the product offer, the reveal when they're done, to bring the homeowner in, then to discuss cleaning, how to use the door, the best application, what they do. And if they get that down right, they end up going out of there with a nice tip, because the customer feels really comfortable with them. They're happy with them. They get their name. If they ever need any service, they ask for that person. And they really build that camaraderie. And you do enough role playing, and you don't have to worry about what your guys say, because it's ingrained. It's like a robot. They're spitting it right out the way they've been trained. And that's really important, that you have consistency through your company. You don't want one guy telling them that the product that you put on the glass is you'll never have to wash the glass. We drill it in there that it's a low maintenance, not a no maintenance product. It's a low maintenance product. And I can take 20 of my guys and they're all going to tell you that same sentence, and they're going to emphasize it the same way. And that's really important, because you might get that phone call from a customer that says, your guy told me that I never have to wipe that glass down and I got water spots. And you know to yourself, no, that guy would have never said that. We drill that on him. So you just know. But it's really important that whatever message you want your company, you want it to do the Britton Tilson way, that they tell them the Britton Tilson way, the way you want it explained to the customer. That's really important.
How do you do that? Do you have a script for them to read and then tell them to, make it their own, or do you just keep doing it verbally? How do you make that happen?
So we have an awful lot of videos that we make. And then what we've done is we videoed our best guy and we put it up on the screen and we play it over and over. And then we do a role play. Okay, it's your turn. One of the office girls will come over and say, here's Mrs. Homeowner. You just put it in. Go ahead. Give her your spiel. And he starts talking about the glass, the maintenance, and, they have a checklist. I probably told guys before, I'm a pilot. And before you go up in the plane, you've got a checklist, things you have to do. Once you get in a routine of things that you have to check, these guys will do the same thing. You got to tell them about this, how to replace the sweep. You can take it off and clean it. This is how you do it. You can swing the door in, let it drip in all day long. You don't have to leave it in a closed position. Leave it in. This is how you wipe it down with the microfiber. So they do it right in the same order. Every single crew is saying it the same way. You can easily make a video on your iPhone and give it to the guys. They could go out to the truck and look at it as a refresher if they have to, and then go back in and just repeat what you want them to say.
I'm sorry. Yeah, please go ahead, Bill.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you, man?
Good. No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. When I started the business, I also started as a helper, right? And I realized when I got to the company that I used to work, I was kind of a little bit loose in the beginning. So after like 2 or 3 months, I made like a job description for the new helpers, right? it was like pretty simple and straight stuff and straightforward, 2 pages. I still have that. I can remove the logo from the company and I can share with you guys on the group. And you guys for sure can adapt to your situation, right? But you have there, like, since you're grading the customer, what you have to do like early morning at the end of the day, pretty straightforward stuff. That like simple, I can share with you guys. I can send you later for sure at the group.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah, just go ahead and post that in the group. That'd be cool.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. We
No
actually
problem.
discussed today, because again, the goal is to get as polished as Bill Dobman. But I mean, honestly, that's the truth. I mean, at any point, will I own multiple locations? Do I? Maybe not. That's not the goal. But polishing the process is the goal.
Yeah.
We had a meeting today about creating a literal written procedure for our shower install guys. Now I have commercial guys, I have other crews that are doing other things, but I live in the shower world inside of our building. So we discussed today, we had our yearly meeting today. It's been delayed because we've been ransacked by COVID. But the next step in our process is creating a written schedule of events for our guys. When you arrive, this is the first thing you do. This is the second thing you do. And we're going to drill them on it. And it'll be changing habits for a lot of them because a lot of them have been installing for, 15, 20 years. But if I get them to do it 50 times in a row, we should start to make that habit. As simple as introducing yourself when you get there, making sure your booties are on you so there's no discussion on whether you have booties to cover your shoes or not. Trying to make the customer feel as comfortable as possible from the time they open the door is the key. So we had a meeting about that today. So am I there yet? No, but that's a next step in the process. And I think a lot of you guys are in the same boat as me. It's trying to figure that out. And we are literally going to sit down and write a step-by-step. This is what we hope happens perfectly. Will it happen perfectly every time? Probably not. But this is what we hope happens. This is how we want you to interact. This is what happens while you're on site. And this is what happens when you step off site. I've been hounding my guys about when you sit your butt in the seat of your truck when you leave, a picture should be going from you to me of what you finished immediately. And that's part of our procedure. So to make it clear for our guys, and we're getting better and better, as we start trying to get these things implemented. So making it written and putting it in their trucks or their vans so they see it will help in that process. And then eventually it being in the vans or trucks won't matter because it will be habit for them is my goal. But we're right at the beginning stages of that. And my first step is going to be, we're going to sit down and create a schedule of events for our guys written down that we want to happen so that I don't get that call. And that was a major discussion in our meeting today, was I am so tired of getting the call from the customer that says, well, your guy told me this, when I'm thinking, I hope he didn't, because that makes no sense. And then my guy's response is always, that's not what I told him. So I get in that argument and I can't argue against the customer. I can't tell them they're wrong because I'm still trying to get a balance paid on a job. So I have to accommodate to whatever that means. So I'm trying to reduce that problem, like all the other problems. I'm trying to reduce them. They'll never go away, but how do I reduce that issue? And this is a next step in that process is creating a really clear cut. This is what you do before. This is what you do on site. This is what you do after. Everybody does the same thing so that I know if somebody steps outside of that, then we've either got a problem or the customer is fabricating something. So yeah, that's our next step in the process of trying to do that.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. We've talked about the 3 Ps in business, right? You got the right product. We all sell the right product. Glass it's not a problem selling glass. So now you got to have the people in the process.
Mm-hmm.
You have a process set up, it's going to be easier to get people because you can train people. Most people want to be told what to do and they will do it. It's when you throw them out there without training and expect them to do something and there's no expectations set for them. So if you give them those expectations, as Billy was talking, that what clicked is give yourself the experience when you walk into McDonald's and how you're greeted and you walk into Chick-fil-A. It is a night and day difference of experience. Why? Because Chick-fil-A's got it down to a science. an absolute science, how they teach their people with respect, how they treat, how they dress. You go to McDonald's and it's a careless attitude. They think you're going to buy because it's McDonald's, not because of them. But Chick-fil-A they've got it down perfect. There's no, Jiffy Lube is another one. All they're doing is changing oil in your car, but they put on a show, but they make you feel good that it's you. And that's what we have to tell our installers. You're not installers, you're salespeople. You are. You're the last person that the person sees. No matter how good the initial sales guys were in the showroom or at your house, the lasting memory is how did you install it and how did you treat the customer? That's the one that when they go out to dinner and talk to their friends, you're going to say, hire this company. These guys were great. And you've got to train your guys from the beginning that they're not just installers. They're probably the most important salespeople you have.
We do a $50 bonus for any 5-star reviews that the installers are involved with.
Wow, good bonus.
Smart.
That's a big bonus.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it's one way to kind of give them more money, you know, and they go in with being customer service oriented and all that. So I think it's worth it. But it has to be a 5-star review. If it's a 3-star, 4-star, nah, you know.
Yeah, we do similar. We do 20, so we do 10 a guy. And my guys will tell the customers, hey, we get a free lunch if you give us a 5-star review. I don't give two shits how they get that 5-star review. So I continuously have the same guys that'll get a review that says, this guy and this guy were great. We enjoyed them being here. And doesn't matter to me. I mean, if you go to my Google reviews, you can see it. So I'm not lying. They mention names in it, and that's fine with me because all it does is raise that rating. So when I get that one loser who wants to give me the 1-star because, yes, we mismeasured something or we made a mistake, it doesn't matter because it gets trumped by the good ones. So we do the same thing, Brad. And my guy, I have crews that take heed of it, and it doesn't make sense to me why all of them don't because they could make another $100, $200 a week. But the guys who like it, I'm constantly giving them $10 and they're getting free lunches every day.
Yeah,
you know, but it's worth it to me.
Oh,
it's working. So that's all I can say. And we have nothing but 5-star reviews. You know, if we have a kind of upset customer, we don't. I mean, we do everything we can to make every one of them as happy as possible. If something goes awry, you know, we still bend over backwards to solve the problem. But we don't encourage them to do a review. We obviously, when people are real excited and love their product, that's when we ask for the review. So,
Chris, you started this whole thing off with what our goals are for this year.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a pretty good goal is everybody should have a process written down for, training, for installation, for customer interaction. And have that process. It's going to help grow the business organically. It really is.
Yep, I agree.
Absolutely.
Chris, you work by yourself. Don't you find that when you're explaining how the door works to your customers, you're saying it the same way for the last 15 years? It probably doesn't vary more than a sentence.
Not much. And the more you say it, the more you kind of refine the way that you say it, and you get into a rhythm. I mean, you learn where to just kind of pause for a second. You know where to throw in a little chuckle or a little, jab or a little joke. You learn how to read people. And if you need to just be really straight and dry with them because that's their personality, or if you can be a little bit more, jovial and you use a little humor and just make it as personal as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you guys, I don't know if you guys are big readers, but there's a book called The E-Myth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's Michael Gerber is the author. And it's a book, I heard people talk about. And it took me a long time to finally get around to reading it, but I did. And it's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, it's called The E-Myth. Basically, he talks about like entrepreneurialism and what it really means and what we kind of think it means. And really it all comes down to this process thing. And what the author suggests is that you set up your business as though it was a franchise, even if you never plan to franchise it.
Right.
And it's kind of like what Billy's talking about, set up these processes, and Bill too, it's like you set up these processes and do it the same every time. Set up your business in such a way that you could just walk away from it and it would run by itself and you wouldn't even need to be there. Now, I can't do that because my business is designed, around me, and I like it that way. But still, reading that book gave me all kinds of ideas and insights into, how businesses should work. And who knows, I might set up some other kind of business. I might not be, in the shower door business forever.
And can you please repeat the name of the book?
Yes, it's called The E-Myth.
So just the letter E and then MYTH.
And it's actually
Entrepreneur.
E-Myth Revisited now, I think, is the second version.
Yeah, there's a, And
He's actually
that's
putting them
one
out business specific. He has a bunch of them that are specific to realtors, the pie lady, whatever business you're in. Hasn't got to the glass business yet, but
Yeah.
plumbing.
I'll have to give him a call and tell him to work on the
Michael's a
shower door-
character. So watch
shower
out for
door
the video.
version of it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, whether it's the shower door business in general, or just life. I mean, 9/10 of life is psychology. Because, everything in life, if you're a human being and you want to be a happy human being, in my opinion, it's like all about having relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I was out doing an installation yesterday, and the guy who I was installing for ended up coming and chatting with me for a long time. It turns out this guy is like one of the really great glass blowers. I mean, he does like this incredible work. And I don't know about you guys, if you're like me, and probably you are, you've always thought, oh man, to blow glass, would be like awesome. Being in the glass business, it's like, it's kind of that one thing that you never really get around to trying. And this guy actually is as a guy who does that for a living. He's an artist and he teaches it. So I've got this place, not far from me over here in Davenport, where this guy has his workshop, and he trains people on how to do that. So I mean, I'm gonna get an opportunity to go over there and and blow glass. So something is kind of like a bucket list thing, and just taking the time to the guy came in, he's the homeowner, comes in, he's hanging around while I'm installing. Nobody likes that, right? And it'd be so easy for me to just kind of get an attitude, be like, look, dude, don't you have something better to do? I don't come over to wherever you work, and watch you. But then I didn't know who he was either. And the truth is, man, I'd love to go to where he works and watch him, because what he does is awesome. So it's just a little lesson, and you never know, who you might meet. You never know who you might become friends with. I mean, I could tell stories for an hour about friends that I've made who were started out as my customers. What's that?
More than an hour, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, me.
No, but I mean, I run into different people all the time. And Bill, you mentioned Chick-fil-A. I did the shower doors for a guy that was like the 6th or 7th employee of Chick-fil-A. And he worked with Truett Cathy side by side. And he just did whatever Truett told him to do. And he said one day, Truett said, you're going to be the one who expands into other countries. So he was business development. And I am going to lead into something here because it's on topic. The lady who was the human resource manager of Chick-fil-A, she wrote a book, and I couldn't tell you her name. Somebody was just kind of telling me about this. But, the gist of the whole thing is you hire somebody that is just plain old good people who are raised well. Basically, you can't train somebody to be a good person, that becomes from birth on. And, you're not there to train somebody how to be a good person. You're there to teach them how to
Wait,
do that.
where'd it go?
Sorry about that. I had to mute somebody.
Yeah, but you talk about, training people and stuff. I put together a binder, so when I hire somebody, the binder has all the typical glazing tools in there, pictures of it, what they're used for. And then it goes on to, fixing a window, shower doors before frameless came along. And I give it to him because he's a helper. So let him look at it on the way to the job site, so he knows what the basic tools are that we always use.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah,
if
it's everything's about yeah, I think it's everything to create about process, right? Even though I'm still one showman, I try to always write down some process for the future, right? Because I'm looking to increase my business. I look to hire like 1, 2, 3 teams to go out there, spoken through on my behalf. I think you also guys trying to do that, right? But let me ask you something for you guys, like to Bill, Billy, you guys who has like more than 2 or 3 teams out there. What is your percentage of repair, like under the warranty for installation, under the installation warranty? I don't know how long you guys give, for like 6 months or 1 year. What is your percentage? And do you guys have any program just for compensate the guys who has like less service return or repair return? Because I think the repairs, they are the drain from the business. In my point of view, I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Absolutely. The more you do, the more repairs there are going to be. It's just logarithmic.
Yeah.
And as you grow, if you really concentrate on making sure the job gets done right, yes, you want to reward them. So we keep a matrix of jobs that go in, what type of jobs there are. It goes all the way down who measured it, where, if there was a problem, where was the mistake? Was it in measuring? Was it in glass ordering? Or was it an installation? If it was installation, we do retraining. But if it's over and over again, then we really have a problem. So we identify and we track, which are the ones that give you the most repairs, what's the most common. Then when we have our meetings, we'll take the 80-20 rule and we're going to say which 20% gives us 80% of our headaches, right? And if it's leaking under a sliding door, if it's the glass hitting glass, whatever the case is, how do we fix it? And we concentrate on that as a group. But yes, we do give compensation to the guys that have the least amount of repairs, and also the guys that have the least amount of call outs, that show up for work all the time. We'll give them bonuses. Awesome. The guys that have a lot of repairs, when they usually get their annual review at a price increase, we delay that until they give us a couple of months with very few repairs. So we track that. I don't take money away from them, and I don't go backwards, but we delay the increases, and they know it too. We'll tell them.
Okay.
It's not a secret. It's not a secret.
So
there's something that. Please go ahead, Billy.
I'll just say it's funny how things that we conversate in our office about on the regular end up in this on Wednesday nights all the time. I have a call a shop foreman. More or less, he's my intake and outtake and scheduling guy. So I just had the conversation with him about we call them go backs or repairs, because if we're installing 30 showers a week between crews, He threw out to me that we're going back on 50% of the showers we're doing, and I was like, holy smokes. I was like, whoa. I was like, let's sit down and talk about this. Like, let's look at the last few weeks. And he was very frustrated because he had a bunch of repairs piled up that he couldn't get to. We're not going back on 50% of the showers that we're doing, or I would be out of business. So we sat down and looked at it. But there are times when we're going back on 15 to 20% of the showers we're doing. So what I told him, I said, okay, you're seeing this every day where I'm hearing about it once every few weeks. So I need you to tell me, okay, what's our number one repair issue? What's our number two repair issue? If we can knock out those two things, and you're talking goals for 2022, this is one of our goals that we set in our, what we call our management group, not our installers, not our shop. This is what our management group is. If our management group can eliminate go backs, not with our installers, this is on me, this is on him, this is on the people who are handling product. If we can eliminate those and get our guys to pay more attention to some of the things they're doing, then we can eliminate the majority of the go backs. So we find out our number one thing. I've talked about it numerous times. We deal with door slippage. I don't know if we don't know how to put screws in hinges. I don't know what it is, but I've talked on here that is a priority in my world and has been before 2022. But we just made the push recently that hinges are not going to be our go-to. They're just not, because I have to figure out a way to eliminate that issue.
That ought to be one of our topics coming up.
Yeah, not our installers. That's up to me. If they keep having this problem and they're telling me they're doing it right, and I've seen them do installs and we're still getting callbacks, I've got to figure out a way to fix that. So we've taken steps already to do so, and we're going to continue into 2022 to do that. So that's a goal of 2022. Another one is silicone issues. That's more an installation issue. Not paying attention when you're running your silicone, making sure that you're not, if you have a bubble, you've got to go back and you've got to clean that space. You've got to make sure that you get a good seal, from at least the bottom 3 feet of the shower and your bottom along your seal. You have to pay attention to that. You have to do an evaluation afterwards. You don't run the bead and just go on about your business. So addressing those two things will eliminate a large percentage of our go backs. Hopefully, that's a goal. How do we address it? So that's something we're working on as well. We started this year in about March, keeping up with every return that we made to fix a shower. Who was the original installer and who went back to do the repair? So I had a total running for the whole year on who's having the problems, what are the problems, and who's going back to fix it. So that's a new thing for us. So I'm right in the throes of this. I haven't been doing it for years and be able to do a percentage evaluation, but we're doing it right now, and we're going to continue that into the new year. I've looked at bonuses, giving pre-bonuses and then deducting back out. Typically, we go old school where if a guy is having less callbacks, he gives me less problems, he gets a raise faster. That's just a simple way to go about it. He's going to move up the pay chart quicker. If he's causing it less problems and being more profitable for the company. That's the simple way to go about it. But I'm always looking for new ways to incentivize guys where they're more motivated to do a better job. And a lot of people have touched on that, and we've touched on that in past conversations. So I'm not going to beat it, but I'm always looking for new ways to go about that. If it's, taking them out to lunch, if they've stay below a certain percentage of go backs. But now that we're charting it, that allows me to do the evaluation and then sit down with my crews and say, okay, here's what we're seeing. You can't argue the numbers because we're seeing it this way. How do we fix it? And how do we motivate them not to do it? So.
Hey, do you guys post those results to where everybody can see them as if it's some type of competition, or is that something that's behind kind of closed doors, just for you to monitor and then address as needed?
I don't post it.
I've got a live Google Docs that anybody can get off their iPad. So yeah, we try and be pretty transparent about it. But again, I've got that training die. So if somebody is having a consistent issue, we'll use it as a coaching opportunity first. I mean, I don't want to lose somebody that I invest a lot of money in.
Right.
It should be able to be fixed. What I like about what Billy said, once you focus on the things that your top problems, you'll fix them. You will fix them. I could go in there and say, where do I want to be more profitable this year? all right, let's look at our fuel charges. Fuel's gone way up. If you focus that you're going to buy your fuel or you're going to join an app that you get 20% off, your fuel charges will go down. If you start focusing on what is your problem, so it doesn't matter what it is, if that's your focus, you will get better. So the key, like Billy says, pick your top 2 or 3 real headaches. Focus on that. That's where you're going to save your most money. And when Bob said earlier, he wants to increase his business by 25% this year, I would challenge, increase your profits by 25% this year. You don't have to increase your revenue, increase your profits. And you do that by watching your go backs, watching your fuel, watching your costs of whatever. How many times do you see guys throwing away good things that can be reused? I mean, I used to drive myself crazy watching guys throw away half a channel that you would use if you're doing a door in a small panel. So being really conscientious of those parts, save a lot of money. And the bottom line is the most important for all of us in the business. I challenge you to raise your net profit 25% as opposed to your gross profit.
So Billy, you're talking about hinge slipping and all that stuff. So we put all the hinges in on the doors in the shop and we block them. And I had the last 3 shower doors, the hinges were slipping. You go back out and you go to unloosen the screw, like you never even tighten it up. So I started putting Loctite on the screws and I haven't had a problem since.
So what do the guys do for adjustment in the field if you're locking them in place in the shop?
Well, we go out, we hang them. I mean, they're cinched down to where they creak. And the customer calls and says, well, the door slipped. You go out there and you go to unloosen the screws like you never even tightened it. You know,
So I think probably what he's doing is what we do is we put the hinge on and then we adjust the door before we mark to drill the holes.
right. I mean, we put the hinge on and I block the hinge so it can't slip.
Okay.
And
We
then-
still end up moving the hinges a little bit, but
yeah,
not
but
much.
I had one job where 3 times and finally I put Loctite on it and that's the last time I went to the job.
So the Loctite helped you with the screws not unthreading.
Yeah.
But how many times have you gotten it where the compression gasket just got to the point where it's just not holding it anymore? You know, and the glass is coming out just because of the compression gasket itself. It has nothing to do with the screws.
Yeah.
The screws are still in there Loctite and it still gets slippage.
No, once I put Loctite on it, that's all the problem.
You're lucky
Yeah, I know.
because glass will still slip even with Loctite.
Yeah, I know,
on the screws.
but it's
Yeah, I always try to clean the best as I can the near to the cutouts with alcohol.
Yeah.
And also I clean it up
oh yeah, I do that too.
yeah, we gotta clean it up the gaskets as well.
Yeah, we clean them all.
That is helpful.
Yeah, but there's certain brands of gaskets that don't have the same life as other brands, and they lose their
grip.
Yeah, their grip. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
Don't lose your grip, man.
Well, I was using the clear gaskets when I first started out because I thought they were more grippy and would do a better job, but I still had a high percentage of these things. And I explained this issue to a guy that knows that product because he makes like gaskets and stuff. And he said the problem with silicone gaskets is it's fluid. And when you compress it over even a short period of time, it's fluid, so it relaxes. And so I was talking to a guy I'm going to probably be hiring. We used to work together years ago. And he pointed out that he has more problems with slippage on Sierra Lawrence hinges than he does from Alumax. And I don't like dealing with Alumax. I don't, that's another topic, but I'm sitting there thinking, well, maybe I need to rethink things or try to figure out the gasket situation. But it seems to be a common denominator among all of us here that is a headache situation. I'd like to have a perfect solution. I don't want to put hinges on before we leave, because we're handling multiple pieces of glass on truck racks, and I don't have a lot of rack space, so I don't want hinges on glass. So anyway,
We always re-torque them before we leave, go over everything and make
Oh
sure.
yeah, we
it's
do the
nice
same
and tight.
thing.
Is
Yep.
there a, Bill, is there a recommended torque on these things? Should they be? Do we have little torque wrenches? We use the Allen wrench to make sure we can get it, because my guys will lay into her.
Yeah, this is
Somewhat,
definitely a topic that we could spend probably an hour on. It's just
Oh, yeah.
these hinges. I've got some ideas,
How do you do it, Bill?
but we're out of time.
So
So we'll have to come
Tune for
back
next
again
week.
next week. To
Make
get more
it pivots.
information.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
We can't solve all of your problems in just 1 hour. Maybe
Why not?
probably
Make it
take an hour
pivots.
and a half. Hey, you
Pivots.
guys, thanks so much for showing up, man.
Yeah,
I really
just-
look forward to this.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris. Just to
Yeah.
let you guys know, I shared with you guys the file that I told you about. Like, is just like a description for the helpers. All right, it's, you guys can find on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I post that in the group as well?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm going to do that. So if you guys aren't in the Zoom call, you can go to the group page, and I'll be posting it up there later.
All right. Thank you.
thank you very much, Victor.
Thanks, Victor, for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your
Bye.
evening. We'll see you next Wednesday.
next week.